Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in to What's the Key, a podcast where I talk to musicians who've essentially unlocked some of the doors in the music industry. My name is Broadway B, your host. And what we're going to do right now is we're going to take a look back at some of my favorite moments from the episode so far.
Working with TDE and Punch and them is like, nah, these are our people. This is our clip. We're not giving up on like something because it didn't work. And so I knew that, but then when the Drake and Kendrick shit happened, I saw it really firsthand, and I was like, "Oh, these like real family members." It's like it's a difference, and I haven't seen that before in the music industry, and it's one of the main reasons why I trust Punch so much and why I work with him.
In what way? You said when you saw the Drake and Kendrick, in what way did you see that it was a family atmosphere?
Well,
situation?
Kendrick wasn't signed to TDE anymore. He's not signed to TDE anymore. His last project, the Mr. Morale project, was his last project on TDE. So. I honestly hadn't met Kendrick before. Then when the beef stuff started, like Punch and Top and all of them are in the Not Like Us video, like it damn near felt like it was a TDE thing. And Kendrick's not signing them no more. Yeah. But that's his family. Those are like his people. And so that's like just seeing them like rally around him and like talk like as if he's still signing them, even though he's not, is like precisely what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's crazy. I feel like when a lot of times, in a lot of cases, when labels and artists part ways, there's bad blood. You know,
absolutely,
yeah. That is very cool to like see that and hear that. I know you have at least a couple songs that have like around 500,000 streams, which is a lot for an independent artist. Talk about like kind of getting, or what you did to kind of get those songs to go like that.
It's really tricky, and I don't know like the real answer because those songs have been kind of stuck at those levels for a while. But what I do know is that if you can get people to stream your song initially that first week to month,
right,
then that changes everything. And so whether it's getting on like some playlists, which is obviously the cheat code, you get like on some real playlists, like the big playlist, that helps. And then that changes the algorithm to get people to do it. But what I used to do is I just bought a lot of ads on Instagram with my videos. So I would make like a cool video with a cool visual effect that I haven't seen before. So like my song Make Her Cry, which is one of the songs you're talking about, the opening shot is a girl's head in the fishbowl and she's crying and the water's filling up as she's crying. And it's like a real girl. It looks like an actual person. And so I just figured out how to do it visually. And so I made that an ad on Instagram, and I ran that ad for 6 months, and I spent like a lot of money on it, and got people to click on it. It got me a lot of followers and a lot of clicks, and I spent a bunch of money on ads for like the songs that are doing really well, mixed with some really good content, and then like stuff like this, and also like I send these to some influencers. Like, I didn't tell you, I also pay some people to tweet my songs out, my videos out. So that got me like, that'll get you like. Someone with a bunch of followers on Twitter gets you like 100,000 views in a day, and that doesn't equal streams, but that equals like at least some clicks, and like that translates to streams too. So, so it's like kind of like a less rich person's version of pay to play. Because if you have like a bunch of money, you pay to get into the big playlist, you pay to get on radio. That's how the labels do it. But now we got the internet, so I can pay a guy I know with 200,000 Twitter followers, and his fans are actually more loyal than the fans of the random playlist on Spotify that's curated by the Spotify people.
So your grandma, one of the only women doing this at the time. And so how did she kind of get into like Elvis's circle? How did that all kind of unfold?
So they went to my grandmother and they said, hey, May, her name was May Axton, born in Axton. They said, you dabble in songwriting. How about you write Elvis a song to like, push his career and get him off the ground? And that became Elvis's first million-selling hit called Heartbreak Hotel. After that success of Heartbreak Hotel, she moved to Nashville, and she started a PR agency and a promotion agency, and she became known as the Queen Mother of Nashville. And she started anybody who came to town, basically from the late 50s through the mid 90s till her passing, went through her door at some point. So she started like Willie Nelson and Garth Brooks and Reba McEntire and Dolly Parton, and all those people went through her to start their careers, which is pretty amazing very prideful thing. The last artist she had was a guy named Blake Shelton, who's a pretty big deal right now.
Absolutely.
That's the last one she guided through the industry. So it's amazing to think that my grandma has had a musical impact from the early 1950s to 2025 and beyond.
Your dad also, wrote some hit songs as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, he kept the legacy going very, very strongly.
Yeah.
For the next couple of decades. So as I was telling that story of, my grandma and Tommy opening up that newspaper and writing a song for Elvis in the kitchen down in Jacksonville, Florida. At that same time, my dad was a standout junior varsity football player at Robert E. Lee High School.
Okay.
And he came home one day and he saw Elvis and my grandma talking about the successes they've been having, this momentum that was growing, and the musical lifestyle that they're dreaming of. And he said, like, that moment, just like something clicked in his head. And he's like, that's what I want to do when I grow up. Mm-hmm. So he started writing his little folk songs, songs mainly about like robbing trains and stealing cattle and all that kind of stuff that you did back then. But he ended up having a little bit of success after a small trip in the Navy and made his way out to San Francisco in the early 1960s and wrote himself a miniature hit called Greenback Dollar, which was a hit for a band called Kingston Trio, which at the time was like one of the biggest folk bands in the world at that time. And after that, he got a little traction with that song. He made his way down to Hollywood, right over there.
Yeah.
And he wrote himself his own #1 hit called Joy to the World / Jeremiah was a boy.
Yeah. Wow.
And to this day, because we're all friends here, I'm going to tell you this is all true. I was on an airplane about 8 years ago, and in the back there was a crossword puzzle that said, who are the only parent and child to independently write #1 hits in the history of mankind? And I did not know the answer, but it turns out it was my dad and grandma. I know I lost some credit saying that, but it's very true. It's very true.
You do a lot of touring all around the country. For somebody who, like I said, maybe, thinking about doing touring or, thinking about starting a tour, give us some kind of like some tips. What are some of the things that you've learned about touring that, an artist can take?
Don't do it. Stop. Get a real job. No. Find a rich friend, then do it. Just kidding. I would say the smartest thing to do, think of your music as like a pebble that's dropped into a pond and you see those little circles that grow out of it. Mm-hmm. Think of those as your touring circles. So do it. You want to stick closer to home at the beginning. Find markets that are within, a day drive, pepper those as much as you can, every few months, at least come say hi. You might start out with nobody there, and you get 2 people, and then 4 people, and then 10. It's going to grow that way. And if you know how to work your social media, that stuff, that gives it that potential to have little explosions, which is great. But it really, the face-to-face interaction, the making fans and friends that way will last forever. You'll make lifelong fans, not just, casual people like scrolling by. And that's how you have a longevity in your career.
You were on stage with Dave Chappelle.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. When you told me that, it was like such a random thing, but like how did that?
I'm so grateful that I got a picture because no one would believe me.
You have the proof. You have the receipts.
I have proof. Yes. Yeah, and I'll send them to you. Insert. If you want to. But it was a fluke. I used to do a lot of comedy, and in comedy, people learned that I also did music, and so I would do a lot of like variety shows where like I would end as the music, and I was doing a show at I think it wasn't the Laugh Factory. It was Hollywood Improv.
Okay.
And which they do stand up. They don't do improv. They do improv there sometimes, but they mostly do stand up. And it was a stand up show of a bunch of different stand ups, and I was gonna close the show with a song.
Okay.
So they literally, like, I thought they were joking. The host came out and was like, guys, like, I can't believe it, but Dave Chappelle is here. And then he came up and did like an hour of stand up, and everyone was like, ah. Yeah. And then at the very end, he was like, I guess I'm done. And then the host came back on and was like, well, we were gonna have some music. And he was like, well, can I sing too?
Oh, wow.
And so I came up, and then he and I sang Creep by Radiohead together.
Oh, wow. That's a random.
It was, I guess that's like a song he used to do a lot though. It was surreal and crazy, and no one was allowed to have phones, but one sneaky person, I won't say who, took a sneaky video and came up to me afterwards and was like, hey, like, I got this. And I was like, oh my God, thank you, because it's such a good video.
Yeah.
It's such a good video.
It's not often you get to sing Creep with Dave Chappelle.
I know, but because we got to perform together, like when they closed the club, like they were like, you can stay. So I got to stay and like hang out.
Yeah, awesome.
And then he invited me to a birthday party the next night. And I went.
So you went to it was his birthday party or just
No,
like
it
somebody
was like
else's?
his friend's birthday party.
Wow. So
I
you
had
just
no
hanging
business
out
being
at
there.
a birthday party with Dave Chappelle.
There was like so many people, like Kendall Jenner was there, and just like another famous basketball player who, if I remembered his name, you'd be like, that's cool. But I don't remember right now. I was way out of my depth. I was just like holding a glass of wine and like scared. But it was really cool.
Give me the basics of what someone should be doing when they're singing. You're like referring to them, but let's give like a 1, 2, 3. Like,
explain.
You should do this. You should do this when you're singing.
Yeah. Okay. We have to produce sound and then get out of the way of it and shape it.
Okay.
Right?
Yes.
So supporting, like using your diaphragm to support instead of your neck. A lot of people you'll see like sing like, and you see.
I'm guilty.
You see support there.
Yes.
Yeah.
When I'm trying to hit a high note or something, you do this. You tense your neck
you
up,
tend
but
to reach for it,
Yes.
but we have to support lower.
But that's bad.
That's
Don't
bad.
do that.
But that's bad. And you have to support lower.
Okay.
And it sucks as an artist, and we talk about this a lot, like you kind of look cool if you're like, singing for it, but you can't.
Yeah.
This has to be dead, So producing sound is supporting the right way.
Yes.
Okay. Getting out of the way. I always say get out of the way of your sound because, if I started talking with my mouth closed, you can hear it. And so often we'll sing and we'll be like, you, and like sing with like some tension. You have to get out of the way. It has to be dead, Our tongue, we talked about a little bit, it tends to pull back for a lot of people. You'll be singing like, and you see your tongue pull back, and it has to actually be dead.
Because your tongue blocks the sound.
You can hear it if I start talking like this. You know what I mean? But also like your tongue goes all the way back here too, and like that's where sound is vibrating, is in the back of your mouth and the front of your mouth, depending on the vowel. But we won't get too deep.
Yeah.
But it has to be out of the way. It has to be forward, touching your teeth.
Tongue forward, touching your teeth, mouth nice and
open. Yeah. No clenched
tension
jaw.
in your jaw.
Yeah. And then you need to shape it, and everybody has, I'm sure there's different schools of thought, but the way I view it is that we sing vowels and they're in groups of bright and dark. So like you, go, saw, they're pretty dark. And to leave our mouth the best way, you have to shape them. And it's by shaping your mouth long. And then bright vowels like E, I, A are bright. And they resonate a little bit further forward. Ask anyone, any dialect coach, and they'll tell you the same things. And so you need to shape them a little differently. You have to drop your mouth and use your tongue to help pronounce it. And we get in the way a lot with bright vowels, with E. We want to smile and go, E, E. And what are you doing? You can see.
You're pinching the sound.
Yeah, you can pinch it. You can see it, E, that it's getting pinched, versus E, So it's, as singers, like, you might go perfectly through a scale, but as soon as you sing, you start doing neck stuff. Or as soon as you sing, you start clenching your jaw. Like we all have isms that we do, like our little Maddi isms or Broadway isms that like, that's how I sing and that's how I reach that note. That really just do get in the way. So what a coach does is teach you the things, the vowels that you're doing and how to do them. And then let's sing a song and point out the vowels that you struggle with, For me, ah, A-H, I struggle with so much. I reach for it and I don't make my mouth round, Yeah. What's one that you struggle with?
You tell me, teacher.
E.
Yes, you know. I'm like,
you drop it down your throat.
Yeah.
And then you smile.
Yeah.
But you're so
good. I do smile. Yeah, I do.
And I always say the best singers are so lazy.
Yeah.
Because you're already doing shows once a week, at least, at least once a week.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what am I going to change? I'm going to change and make my mouth like that. Like, I don't want to,
Yeah.
I'm already singing.
Let's talk about branding for a second and visual identity, because I feel like that's something that you have locked in. And I feel like it's something also that a lot of artists neglect. I feel like we think about our sound and what we want our music to sound like. But I feel like the visual identity is just as important, and having that be consistent across your social media and across your music, so it all is cohesive. I feel like you have that dialed in, like your music is cohesive with your visual identity, and that carries across your social media. Like when you go to your social, it's like it's clear, like, okay, this is what he's doing. Like I was on a consultation call with this dude Mauricio Reese, who he used to manage Jesse Reyes, and he does a podcast as well. And that's one thing. He was a critique for me. He was saying is like, having a kind of a brand identity and that type of thing. And so I just wanted to kind of get your thoughts on how you kind of arrived at the visual kind of identity too. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like it's important, and I feel like it's something that not a lot of, or not enough artists pay enough attention to.
It's funny because I've always battled when it comes to brand. Because whenever somebody says brand, me being the nerdy artist I am, there's like my spine tries to jump out of the back of my neck and crawl across the room. And I used to it used to bother me, but I realized it would only bother me because there's so many people that I knew that thought brand before they even knew what they were. And it's like, how can you have a brand if you don't even know what it is you're offering? And so for me, it's the most organic that it's ever come about, because I know exactly where I'm drawing from. I mean, I'm sitting here with Johnny Cash on my shirt and his mugshot. Like, Johnny Cash is so integral to me. And he talked about, he was the Man in Black, the original Man in Black. And he talked about, in a time of plaid cowboys, he's like, I ain't gonna be that plaid cowboy. I wear black for the downtrodden, the brokenhearted, the people left behind, the poor, the imprisoned. It was this sense of mourning and this iconic stepping into, I will bear this for you and I will be your voice. And as I just listened to more Johnny Cash and really his philosophy as much as his music, because I'm so philosophical in my approach to everything, that's really where I started to land. Because I'm like, I own and carry this moniker of 6-string guillotine because my music comes from a place of rage and anger at the injustice that is constantly being pelted on us from basically 13 families in this country. And it was this element of I take what he gave me and then I try to build on it. When I look at country music, I don't see anybody that looks like me. So why am I going to try to look like what doesn't represent me in the first place? I'm not interested in conforming to rooms that weren't built for me. If I'm gonna step in there, I'm gonna stand out on my business. And so it feels like an act of defiance stepping out on a stage with this Stetson hat, because good old boys have certain thoughts about that.
Right.
But then they forget, and I like to remind them just with my presence that the first cowboys were black. That's why they were called cowboys and not steermen. It was a derogatory phrase, but doing what we do, we made that shit so cool. They came back and they're like, second thought, we want to take that.
Yes.
We want to take that and own it and make it our own. And so there's that element where I am trying to muster that Man in Black that Johnny Cash, he set the bar so impossibly high. But, I'll be damned if I don't try to honor that. But I'm going to put all this drip on me because we shine.
Yeah.
And for me, there is a continuation of, I wear all black because there are things to mourn. But this gold is a symbol of, they hate us because they mad that they don't shine like us. They have to build power and stack bread because they think that'll make up for the fact that they don't have any substance or any flavor. We have that flavor. we shine because we're the ones that are standing in the light. They're searching for it, and that's why they're trying to absorb everything around them. They think that the more that they consume and own, then they'll be able to find it and be loved and find love and find purpose and find existence instead of simply interacting with humanity. So for the rest of us that are on the ground level, I have no interest in being an affluence. I grew up the poor kid and rich in private school. You know, my grandparents were wealthy, so it allowed me the privilege and opportunity to go to these schools. But I never felt fully a part of that. And so it's given me this unique perspective of my own life and my own existence. And my branding came from such an honest place because it matches my music. I know who I am. I know what I have to say. And this is now what I've stepped into. It's like, you know, when I first started playing live again, because this all happened so fast. As I realized, it's like I played my first set in Los Angeles in February of this year. And, you know, when I was doing it then, like that was the first time I put on the Stetson hat and the black. Before that, I was just like playing at open mics in like, you know, these black overalls that I have and all of that. And I was like, I don't know. I feel like I'm trying to do something. And then I was like, I'm just throwing on black, man. And when I put on the ice and I put on the gold, for me, it's like an armor. It allows me, because it's like when I'm walking around in my everyday life, I mean, look, I like to shine. I've always been an accessorized man. I don't wear all of this all the time.
Right.
But when I step on stage, it allows me to be the vulnerable artist that I am, because I'm going to crack open my entire soul for everybody in the room. And I am going to give every bit of that I have. And there's something about putting on this Stetson and putting on this jewelry and this ice. It is like this armor where it allows me to be vulnerable because it gives me like a sense of protection in a way. It's the only way I can describe it.
Okay.
And so like my branding has come from that very honest place of there is some sort of nerdy poetic sort of philosophy behind it. But the more I stopped trying to run from that and just embraced of like, hey, let it happen organically. Let it tell you what it wants to be, because that's the honest place.
I want to go back to Walking Dead for a second, because we didn't really get to talk about that. How was that experience? Like Walking Dead, by the way, was like, I used to watch that religiously. I watched Talking Dead even religiously. Like I would like DVR Talking Dead even. So I was like a big Walking Dead fan, just FYI. So super cool that I'm talking to somebody who was on the show right now. But how was that whole experience working on that show?
That experience was really dope. It was a teaching experience to me too. Not acting on the show as much as like the high profile nature of the show. You know, it's like I'd done quite a bit of television, 20 so odd episodes, but nothing was the magnitude of that show. And so one, I was nervous showing up to set because I did like a 5-episode arc in the last season. And so at this point, a lot of this cast has been doing this for 7 to 10 years. They've been knowing each other for a minute. And then here I come, the new kid in school, and I'm like, I don't know what a show that big running that long, what kind of dynamic that makes, like with personalities and all. And I was so warmly greeted and welcomed in and like embraced. And, you know, I'm a comic book nerd. I ended up like, you know, I was reading a lot of comic books, and I had several like I got Lauren Cohen into reading comics, which was fun. We became very fast friends over talking about our dogs. Nice. And then I'm just passing out comics to different people like a sommelier. Oh, you like this? Here, let me pair it with this.
Nice.
But it was fun to be on that. Like it was a teaching experience, one of understanding, like when you're on these high profile shows, whether it be like that or like action films and like the Marvel films and all, there's so much hurry up and wait. Like there were so many days where I was on set 12 to 14 hours and on camera for 45 minutes.
Wow.
I think there was one episode in particular, like where we're stuck on this train trying to get out. And I think for like 3 days in a row of filming, the predominant the predominant task I had in my on-camera time was just trying to open the same door. It was just like different angles. and it grates on you. Like, especially your artist feels like, I'm not doing anything. And like you're always in conflict of like, this is the best money I've ever made. This is the biggest show I've ever been on. But the artist is like, feed me. I'm so sad because I'm just moving stuff around. And so it was a great experience in learning how to deal with that and knowing which friends I could call and be like, I got to talk to you because you know that I'm not spitting in the face of this incredible opportunity I have. Right. I'm just trying to emotionally and mentally navigate a weird new headspace for myself. And then on top of that, like once I finished the show, when I finished filming was when the first story broke on like this huge Twitter page, like this huge Walking Dead Twitter page. Broke the story. I don't know how they found out, but like they make the announcement that I'm on the show. And I remember I'm in Ohio. I'm sitting at lunch with my college friend who played drums with me in the first band.
Gotcha.
And anytime I'm sitting with somebody, I turn my phone face down so that I'm just with them. And he got up and he goes to the bathroom, and I take my phone and I just see, and I was never on Twitter, like ever at this point. And I just see like 150 Twitter notifications. And I'm like, what on earth happened?
Wow.
And then I open it up and it's like my followers doubled.
Wow.
And there's like everything that I tweeted had like thousands of engagements. And now all of a sudden, and it actually, I sunk into a depression. And I was trying to figure that out, like trying to navigate that. And I realized after I sat with it for a little bit, I realized I was like, what I'm afraid of is I don't have control of my own narrative right now. Like this is now grown out of my control. I felt like anybody could just reach out and touch me. It felt very vulnerable. And like my anonymity was suddenly just gone. And I like my anonymity. You know, like, I mean, part of why I like getting on the motorcycle is I put on a helmet and you don't know who I am, what my ethnicity is. I'm just a dude on a bike. And so all of a sudden that was kind of gone. And it was great because I learned that about myself. I didn't know that about myself. I didn't know that's how I interacted with. So like that show taught me so much, and I had a lot of fun. I did, like I had a lot of fun. It wasn't just me being sad and a broody artist. I did have a lot of fun, and my like there's an episode where I get tortured, and it's me and Norman Reedus who played Daryl Dixon. And it was such a fun, exhausting day. I mean, we shot my torture scene like 47 takes, I think. Wow. So it was an intense day. Wow. But me and Norman Reedus, we were talking about it before because like the storyline is like we've been traveling together and then the bad guys catch us and he's trying to tell them that he's not with the group they caught me with. And so they're trying to make him prove it by having him now come into the room and start taking over the torture on me. And so in this, without saying any words while he's torturing me, we're having to have this conversation with our eyes. And he comes up to me and he's like, man, Glenn, I gotta tell you, man, like I'm a little nervous. Like I don't know how we're gonna make this read, bro. Like I don't, brother, I'm trying to figure out how to make this. I'm like, I'm the same way, man. Like I don't know how, like I think we'll figure it out, but like this is new for me too. And once we got in there and the director comes up, Greg Nicotero, directed that episode, and he came up to us. He was like, listen, we're gonna shoot everybody watching this, what's going on first, so that you guys can sort of find a rhythm. And he was like, and then once we start to settle in, we'll turn around, we'll get your coverage and all of that. And so by the time they turned around, Norm and I were like, he looks at me, he goes, I think we got it. And I'm like, I think we're there, man. Let's just lean in. And we found it. And it was fun. So it was like there was so many great new experiences, and being on a show of that magnitude was like a new achievement, like a new level for me, which I'll forever be grateful for. That, and I mean, financially, it's probably the main reason I'm still above water.
Not mad at that. Not mad at that at all. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that. If there was something in particular that resonated with you, definitely let us know in the comments. And if you feel like somebody could get something out of this, go ahead and shoot it to them. We'll see you next time on What's the Key.